Good afternoon, gentlemen. As historical and scientific advisors for a show that is very much grounded in what Americans and the world all knows happened, how much do you both worry about people saying, no, you got it wrong?
Oh, I can tell you from the scientific side of things, I always live in fear of hate mail. So that motivates partly my line by line reading of everything that comes from the script. I really don't want anything to sneak through and be wrong. And it's a challenge, and it's fun, and it's something that the writers do as well. So what I get from them is already very clean of problems. It's something, and I'm sometimes kind of happy. We find something really subtle that we can find. And so not much has slipped through.
Okay.
As a historian, it's tricky because it's fictional, right? It is not trying to capture a documentary picture of the past. They are taking elements of the past and sometimes rearranging them and mixing two people into one person and splitting one person into two people and changing the order of time a little bit for the purposes of the story. So I know, because I have a lot of friends who are interested in this stuff, some of them say, this is great. They're not trying to be accurate, but they are conveying a lot of real truths in the process of telling a good story. And then there are some people who say, this guy's tie wasn't the right way of the tie. And I tell those people, I totally understand where you're coming from. Anything I can totally see you're very invested in this history and it's not going to be completely right. You either have to accept the conceit of it being a fictionalized version or not.
Do you guys like it when you hear people telling you, either high school or middle school science teachers or history teachers, that you get something right? Have you heard anybody that says they use this show in their classroom by any chance?
Let's see. So I have not come across someone yet who said they've used it in the classroom, but that's a good. But of course, I love it when people say that they like the show, and my hope is that we can't tell the whole truth. We can tell the truth, nothing but the truth, but we don't have time to tell the whole truth. So I'm hoping that when people hear words like implosion and baritol, they go and Google it from their laptop after the show is over.
Yeah, I really like hearing from people when they've liked the show and when they watch the show. Or sometimes they think they've caught the show in something wrong. They say, I'm pretty sure this is wrong. Just watch another couple episodes. And then it turns out that resolves that they were, the writers are not, it was not an accident that this wrong thing slipped in. It was actually a misconception or something. And that to me is the really fun one. You can tell the very smart people realize that this is smarter than they might have expected.
And what's your process like for do you get the scripts once they're mostly done and you just confirm or deny little teeny pieces, or do you work with the writers while they're drafting each?
Both are true.
Both are true. Okay.
And it's a different a different style of working. One is just throwing things out there and letting 1,000 flowers bloom and trying to get an idea of what they're looking for. And for that, I find telephone works better because you can more quickly go back and forth. When it gets to be a very specific, hard question about 1945's technology and whether it would have been plutonium fluoride or plutonium oxide, I'd prefer that to come by email, so I don't look like I don't know the answer off the top of my head.
I could appreciate that. That makes a lot of sense. Do you have the same problems, or do you have the same?
It's a different problem. And different procedures. So I was involved with the very early sketching out of the season because I'm giving them potential themes and potential character ideas and potential conflicts that actually happen that then they're going to take and fit into their fictional universe. But I also get the questions that are often not. Occasionally, they're very detailed questions. What kind of wire would they use? We'll go look it up. But occasionally, it's a very subtle. What would this group have been doing at this point in time? And I have to go through all these technical reports and say, oh, they were working on this problem and this problem. And interestingly, this problem is something that ended up not working at all, and nobody ever talks about it. But they took it very seriously at the time. So it's a different kind of procedure because I'm giving them options as well as catching anachronisms, catching errors that are just impossible, using the wrong word or referring to something that didn't happen yet, or the wrong vice president or something like that, right? And they're very good. The stuff I see is mostly polished. When I find something, it is often a very subtle detail.
All right, thank you guys both so much.
Thank you.